Motorhead Garage, the program that each week introduces you to and shows you how to install the latest and exciting and innovative products for your vehicle. Motorhead Garage is presented by NHOU Protective Coatings. Now here's your host, Dave Dobson.
Hey there, thanks for tuning in to Motorhead Garage presented by NHOU Protective Coatings. If you've got a high-performance vehicle and you are looking to turbocharge it, there is only one place to go, and that is Liberation Automation. And Charles, you're the genius behind all of this. Give me the rundown of what you guys do.
So basically we do everything for all 90s, early 90s Japanese cars, including some of the modern Japanese cars up until the 2021 Supra is our latest production stuff. We build it all by hand here in America with American-made parts for you guys, all the car enthusiasts.
Now, how hard is it to source everything from the U.S.?
It's an incredible challenge, actually. And a lot of people don't realize how difficult it is to get American-made materials and how limited they are. And we do our best to try and make sure that everything that leaves our shop is American-made steel, produced here for you guys.
Before we talk about these parts in particular, I want to talk about why Made in the U.S. is so important to you. His past career, by the way, is pretty impressive. He was in charge of $100 million aircraft and 2 lives every single day. What did you do in your previous life?
I was a F-15 crew chief for the last 12.5 years, just recently separated, and my brother was an embassy guard throughout the entire world, and to include parts of Africa and stuff like that, and we're business partners in this whole thing.
You've got a vested interest in our liberty, so thank you.
American-made and American-built is extremely important to us.
So let's talk about what you brought with you here for show and tell. Obviously, the manifolds are super impressive.
Well, thank you.
There, yeah.
So this is what we started off building almost 7 years ago. We started building turbo manifolds for all kinds of Japanese cars, mainly for the drift scene and the import scene. We've since then branched out and we started doing fabrication parts, like these turbo flanges and other DIY fabrication kit kind of stuff. Again, we can build pretty much anything turbo manifold wise or even turbo supporting equipment here out in the US. So.
First I want to talk about something that just impressed me. I mean, the angles on this thing and on this one too. I mean, it's super impressive just looking in there. How hard is it to get a piece like that put together?
It's extremely difficult to mesh those 6 pieces of tube equidistant from each other.
I can only imagine the labor that goes into that. It's very impressive.
And all of it's hand welded. None of it's done by any robots or anything like that. The only thing that is mass produced by us in our own shop is these machine flanges. The rest of it is all cut and fit by hand. So on the manifold, you would normally have 3 signatures, and that would be showcasing that me and the 2 other guys that work with me have signed off on this product. So what you're getting is not just some mass-produced garbage. It is a custom piece of art for your application based off of what you've told us.
Well, it's clearly one of the most beautiful pieces I've ever seen. But let's talk about the materials, what makes it so high quality.
The materials that we use are all 304 Schedule 10 stainless pipe. And the great thing about this is the material itself is highly overrated for what the application is. This tube can handle a tremendous amount of heat and pressure. This manifold is easily going to be able to handle what any turbo car out there is going to be able to produce.
And speaking of the turbos themselves, there's no supports here. I've seen a lot of others that have supports here for the big turbo unit.
Correct.
How much stronger is this than that?
I don't have an exact percentage of how much stronger it is, but it is considerably stronger. We have gone through some pretty extensive R&D to make sure that this turbo manifold can support any turbo application, all the way up to some of the larger frame BorgWarner S480s, which are massive without any weight issues or stress issues or anything like that. Almost zero fatigue. We've had them returned to us with 4 or 5 years of use, and they absolutely look as they should. So.
Your manifolds are affordable, but I can go online and find them for a couple $100. What's the difference between those and what you make?
Absolutely. So when you buy something for a couple $100 from China or something like that, you may get 4 or 5 uses out of it before it starts to degrade and has issues, cracking, deformation, stuff like that, lack of performance. With this, you're going to have years and years of application fun and be able to beat the ever-living crap out of it. So.
And they made perfectly with the flanges in the U.S. How many other folks are doing those flanges?
There's very few companies here in the U.S. that are producing flanges of this high quality. Almost none of the manufacturers that are producing flanges now in the U.S. are fully machined on all sides. Most of them are going to be machined from a piece of bar stock, whereas ours is machined, like I said, 100% on all 4 sides. Gives you an incredible accuracy, and they start out perfectly flat.
Just looking at these, I can't imagine I'd have any problems, but what if something goes wrong?
If you end up having any issues with these related to failure, cracking, stuff like that, we warranty these full replacement for the next 5 years from the date of purchase.
5 years?
Yes.
There is nothing that lasts on a race car for 5 years.
No, this will.
That's incredible. Well, these parts can handle anything you can throw at them. Check them out at liberationautomation.com. We will be right back with more Motorhead Garage presented by NHOU Protective Coatings right after this, so do not go anywhere.
Motorhead Garage, presented by NHOU Protective Coatings, is brought to you by RockAuto.com. All the parts your car will ever need. Magic Creeper, the most versatile creeper ever. Custom Auto Sound, the originator of classic car OEM bit radio since 1977. And by Oil Undercoating, the official oil-based rust prevention system.
We are sure glad you came along with us here on Motorhead Garage, presented by NHOU Protective Coatings. If you're into off-roading, you know that the off-roading part is the fun part, but getting your gear there can be the difficult part. It can be the dangerous part. And Ted, you come from an adventure sports family, so I know that the gear you've made here at Rhino USA is going to hold up. Tell me how you developed all this.
Well, me and my family have been off-roading and power sports our whole lives. In the 80s, we're doing flat-bottom boats and ATCs. My dad was a pilot. I'm a pilot. We go camping. So we developed all these products just for things that we thought could be improved on what was out there. We continue to improve the products every day. We develop new products based on stuff we want to use.
And we were talking beforehand, I love how you also love feedback from your customers, and you're glad to put your address out there and a phone number too.
Absolutely, yeah. So we have an 800 number. We encourage everybody to give us a call. Our tech guys talk to them every day, and we find out what people like, what they don't like. And every one of our products we're constantly improving. So we're on like version 4 of this product, because we keep improving it.
And it's stuff that you've invented for yourself and tested yourself, but you also do a lot of lab testing. So, how much do you stand behind your products based on that?
Well, 100%. We give unlimited lifetime warranty on every single one of our products. Every time we develop a new product, it gets tested for brake strength, which is the most important thing with straps. So we put the working load and brake strength on everything we sell, so everybody knows.
Excellent. Well, let's start with the straps. Let's talk about the one you brought here. This is sort of a motorcycle tie-down strap?
Yeah, this is actually one of our very first products developed by my 19-year-old son back in 2016 to hold down his dirt bike. So we call this a cam buckle strap. We've integrated the soft loop, so this will go around the handlebars so you're not scratching up the bars. We put the keeper clips on every single one of our hooks to make sure this thing doesn't fall off.
I love that.
Happens a lot.
Happens to me every time.
Yeah, it happens to a lot of people. So we include that. 1.6 inches, this thing's got a 3,000-pound brake strength. We don't recommend this for anything heavier than dirt bikes, light-duty motorcycles, sport bikes, things like that.
Gotcha. And speaking of light duty here, we've got another sort of a standard ratchet tie-down. It's standard in its size, but you guys have thought of a couple little details that make it different from others.
We're always improving everything, but one of the biggest problems people have with ratchets is they're hard to release. So we've developed a system where we're drilling pins and using the caps to hold it so we can loosen up the ratchet mechanism for easier release.
So it's not like the cotter pins you see in a bunch of other.
No, a lot different. That's where you see the caps.
I love it.
That's kind of a special, the unique thing to Rhino USA.
I try to avoid using regular ratchet straps whenever I can, but I think I'm going to run out and buy a pair of these.
Great, yeah, great.
And then so moving on to a little more medium duty and a little bit different design here. What do you have?
Yeah, again, so this was kind of our light duty for general cargo. Then we move into what we call our heavy duty. These are 5,200-pound brake strength. We use these to tie down side-by-sides, primarily, and Harleys, like I have a Victory, and so I tie down my Victory with these. We tie down our Razor with these. So we call these our heavy duty set. And like every single one of our ratchet strap sets, we include the soft loops because you have to create a nice tie-down point to make this work. Too many people are looping this webbing over metal, which causes abrasion and wear and eventually a failure. So the soft loops are an important part of tying down any vehicle.
That's really big. And then moving on to heavier duty?
Yeah, so this is our big boy. This is the 2-inch heavy-duty set. This is actually a patented ratchet, and this unit here was developed in conjunction with Lucas Oil out in California to trailer their Pro 2 and Pro 4 race cars out to the short courses. So we use this for Jeeps, off-road trucks, anything. It's 11,000 pound brake strength. It'll handle anything. Instead of soft loops, we use the axle straps. So these you would loop 36-inch axle straps with the heavy-duty D-rings, loop those over the axles to hold that thing down. And again, this is a J-hook for heavier duty, but we include a keeper clip. So anybody that's ever tied something down, you know, you lay that hook on it, you go to try to ratchet, it falls off and back and forth. So we're trying to solve that problem.
Like I said, every single time it happens to me. And for the folks with side-by-sides, you brought along something new that you guys have created.
Absolutely. Brand new wheel chock tie-down set. This one is unique in that you don't tie down the suspension or the frame of the vehicle. You put the wheels on this thing, you loop the basket strap over the tire. The straps won't come loose when you're off-road and bouncing around.
Well, these guys at Rhino USA thought of everything so you don't have to. You can get to the trail easier and get there safer. Check them out at rhinousainc.com. We will return with more Motorhead Garage presented by NHOU Protective Coating, so do not touch that dial or phone or device.
Motorhead Garage presented by NHOU Protective Coatings, coming to you from Borla Commerce Park.
This is Motorhead Garage presented by NHOU Protective Coatings, where it is happy hour. All right, this is a blend of our favorite soft drinks, but it's always happy hour, and our friends at AP Lazer come in, and Jeff Nelson is an automotive enthusiast who's had a lot of cool ideas for the AP Lazer. Now, first things first here, how did you arrive at the AP Lazer? Why did you decide that this was the laser for you?
Well, it's kind of a winding path. I have a nephew that does live edge furniture, and I was visiting him one time up in Traverse City, and he's marketing his furniture through consignment shops, and some of the stuff is beautiful but doesn't bring a lot of money. And I told him, Stefan, you know, if you were to personalize, I know you can do lasers, I don't know much about it, but if you could personalize it, make it commissionable, you'd make better money. So at that point he said, well, I don't know anything about equipment, you're technical. And I said, I'll look into it for you. And so I started diving into it, and I got hooked.
What kind of things set AP Lazer apart from the other brands that are out there?
Well, the things that sold us on it was the open architecture and the support. We did a lot of looking at a lot of models and makes that are out there. In fact, I created a spreadsheet, and I assigned points to determine value. And when we got done, the two things that swayed it for AP was, again, the open architecture. By having the open architecture, we're not limited to the types of things that others would limit us to do.
For folks watching for the first time, explain what open architecture means.
Open architecture means that we can actually remove the Z-table and move large objects underneath it. We can do anything, tables, windows, large mirrors. We do large bar mirrors. Even caskets can be slid under there and etched.
Incredible. That's the most scientific approach I've ever heard to selecting any product. So AP Lazer's obviously, you know, sold itself to you.
Oh, there's no question. Again, from my background and other things I've had experience with, including racing, you want to buy professional equipment if you want to be able to deliver professional results. Again, on that value system, AP Lazer was the clear winner.
One of the best things about AP Lazer is you can take something ordinary and make it into something extraordinary. Now, we mentioned you're an automotive guy. This decanter started out as just a decanter, but check that out. Tell me your story about Studebaker there.
Well, we're located in Southwest Michigan, which is right next to South Bend, and South Bend has a lot of automotive history that probably a lot of people aren't aware of, but Studebaker was based in South Bend. So I went ahead and contacted the Studebaker National Museum, and I asked permission to use their logo to do this project.
And where's it going to go from here? Are you going to work with them further?
Oh, yeah. I'm going to send it on to them, and a meeting with their online store people later this month to sell this. Obviously, car hobbyists love this type of thing, and they have a Studebaker Drivers Club, so we'll be able to sell it in their store.
And you got glasses over here. Before we get to the glasses, though, I want to mention the packaging here. You've done that yourself, and you did that with the AP Lazer. Yeah,
we do a lot of glass work, and we had problems shipping with breakage. And the other thing is I just hate the plastic noodles and the different things. It's not good for the environment. So we also go through a lot of cardboard that goes to recycle. So I said, hey, we can take and actually design our own packaging for glasses. Once we started doing this, we haven't had any breakage at all.
Aside from the cardboard, how much cutting do you do with the AP Lazer, and what can it cut?
Well, you can cut a lot of different products. Wood, of course. I like acrylic. It has a real nice finish to it, and the types of things you can do, shapes and so on. You can't cut metal, but most other materials you can.
Well, we talked about how you can take something that's ordinary and make it into something extraordinary. Check this out. This just came off the Lazer, and it looks amazing. The same kind of stone, and with the Studebaker logo there, that looks stunning. You add the glasses to it, you got a great looking set, and I think we ought to utilize these right off the bat. We're gonna see how this tastes, by the way. I don't know how this concoction is gonna be, but you can check out AP Lazer at aplazer.com/TV. There's a special deal for viewers of Motorhead Garage. There we go. Hey, not too bad. I will drink to that. We'll be right back with more Motorhead Garage presented by NHOU Protective Coatings right after this.
Motorhead Garage, presented by NHOU Protective Coatings, is brought to you by Borla, the world's most winning exhaust. Magic Creeper, the most versatile creeper ever. Hellraiser Performance, your powertrain specialists. And by Tribotex, make your engine last longer.
Came all the way to New Hampshire to hang out here in the living room with Joe and a couple of our closest friends. And well, okay, actually it's not the living room. Believe it or not, this is the waiting area here at the headquarters of New Hampshire Oil. This is where folks get to hang out while their car's being worked on. And Joe, this is an amazing customer experience. What can folks expect when they roll in here?
Well, one, we try to make this feel like it is a living room, not a garage. We want them to be comfortable. And then next, what we're going to do is we're going to involve them in the process to the extent that we can. One of the things we're doing now is we're putting cameras in the garage so that they can view the monitor from here and see their vehicles being undercoated. When we started, we had a window from our waiting room into the garage in every one of our shops. Not possible with this shop because the building's out back, but they're always involved. We'll pull the vehicle in, we'll let them inspect it before they leave, if that's what they want, every year.
How important is it for you to give them that kind of experience when they come in?
It's what I would want.
And did you look at other places, other service places, to see what they were doing and to see what you liked and what you didn't like and wanted to adapt it?
No, I just gauged on what I thought was appropriate and what I treat everyone the way we would like to be treated, and we're a family-run business, so it's from John's experience on the phone with my son Anthony to Carol, right down to the technician who looked under his vehicle this morning and discussed options.
And how important is it for you to have this experience then translate to your dealers around the country?
We emphasize this experience and the professionalism and the application being done properly, because honestly, a good product is completely worthless unless it's applied properly. Most of our dealers come in here and train, they're invested. We're also now having dealers ask us, how can we take this to the next level? And franchising might just be the next step for us.
Of course, if you're around Chichester or Manchester, New Hampshire, you can bring your vehicle right here, but you can also check on the web to see if there's a dealer or a franchise near you. NHOUundercoating.com. We know Tribotex works on automobiles, but if you have a motorcycle, well, Pasha, that's a totally different animal. What can you do for me?
You're right. Motorcycles share engine and gearbox lubricant at the same time. And in addition, they have wet clutches. Many people ask, is it safe for wet clutches in motorcycles? Yes, because clutch plates interact only during short time. It is not about friction, it's about controlled slippage. Your clutch or engaged or disengaged at the same time. So Tribotex does not build the film on the clutch and save for it.
I talked to Brian, your lead engineer, and he says it actually softens the impact in the clutch. How does that work?
Coating that builds on the surfaces is porous ceramic. And when impact load happens, it expels enough lubricant to lubricate that surface and that given movement without damage.
So we're not talking about slippage in the clutch. That'd be a bad thing.
No, we're talking about elimination of shudder, elimination of stiction, and elimination of welding forces when actually tear out material when the impact load happens. Specifically in our applications for tanks, when the tank shoots, it gives such enormous shock at the surface that gears weld together, and then after tank shot few times in the motion, it doesn't drive as well. So it's not a good idea to choose between shooting your tank or driving it.
So it's not often I hear about shooting from a tank and riding a motorcycle in the same sentence, but you guys can do it all.
Shooting a tank for the transmission and gears, it's the same that for the motorcycle or hitting pothole or dropping the clutch or disengaging it.
Tribotex is tremendously versatile. What other things can it work in besides my engine and motorcycle clutch and that sort of thing?
Power steering, rear differential. People even use it in generators, snowmobile, chainsaws, anything where you need to reduce friction long term and prolong the life of the mechanism, it will work.
Well, we know you're a motorhead because you're watching the show. That means you have lots of motors, big and small, around your house, and Tribotex can help them all. Look them up at tribotex.com. Thanks for joining us here on this episode of Motorhead Garage. Hope you saw some cool products for your vehicle. And if you've got a cool product you want to see on the show, email Jeff at masterstv.com. We'll get you in here to our studio. Until next week, from our entire crew, we'll see you next time here on Motorhead Garage, presented by NHOU Protective Coating. So long. This is Motor... That was amazing.
The cork just blew off because of all the carbonation.
That is amazing.
I hope you caught that.
Oh, yeah.
I want that clip.